learn about Gemara. Today's daf is daf Sadik Hey. So basically, in the Mishnah, we had three different cases, three different examples of shinui. We had example number one is where you stole, let's say, wood and you turned it into a keli, and we said that shinui is kaina, and therefore you have to reimburse the person with money, and you pay whatever the value was at the time you stole it. That was case number one. Case number two was you stole an animal that was already pregnant, and then it gave birth by you. So over there, the din is again, there was a shinui, or the same thing with the wool. You shore it, so there's a shinui, and you pay the price of what it was worth when you stole it. We learned as a machlekes rishonim whether you have to give back the original animal. The shinui is only on the shearings, or the shinui is on the entire animal as well. Then we had a machlekes rishonim whether you pay like a minute before you gave birth, which is exactly the language of the Mishnah, or do you pay whatever it was worth, like a 2-month pregnant at the time when it was stolen. And in the Gemara we're going to learn today, we're going to find that one of these shittas are very difficult to fit into the Gemara. The third opinion is, the third case was you stole an animal and it became pregnant by you, and then it gave birth. Again, you mishalman kishas agzel. You give back whatever it is that you stole and you keep the shinui. So now we're up to the Gemara here, the two dots. And either because shinui is kaina because we have different ways of different explanations, or because of takana shah. You don't believe shinui kaina, but takana shah. Right? Okay. Says the Gemara. Now we're going to focus on the Mishnah here. Gozal paramu ubeda. This is case number two. V'yolden gave birth. Tana Rabban. We're actually learning now three opinions. We're trying to explain these three opinions. Tana, we learn. Agoizel rochel. If somebody stole a sheep, v'gzoza, and then he shore the wool. Party, he stole a cow, v'yolda, and it gave birth. Mishalim. According to Rameir, what do you have to get back? Oisa, the cow itself, the ezgiza, the esrelisa. Even though there was a shinui, you have to return everything back. All the wool that you shore, the baby calf, got to give everything back. We're soon going to try to understand the opinion of Rameir. Is it because the whole shinui is not koine, or is there something else here at hand? Divrei Rameir. These are words of Rameir. Rabbi Yehuda says, Gzeile chayzeres be'ina. You return the animal the way it is. So the animal, you return itself. Now, what about the shearings, or what about the baby calf? So over there, then you have to pay the extra. How much is, right now the animal is lean. The animal is barren. Right now the sheep has no wool in it. You return the animal itself, which sounds more like the shit that I said before. That the animal itself did not go through a shinui. So you return the animal itself, and then you have to supplement that with the payment of what the shavach was at the time when you stole it. So the animal then was pregnant. So the animal itself right now is no longer pregnant. So you return the animal itself, but a pregnant animal is worth $20 more than a non-pregnant animal. At the time when you stole it, was pregnant. So therefore, you keep the sheep, the baby calf, you keep the shearings, but you have to pay what you stole. So the animal itself is as if no shinui happened to the animal. You return that, but just follow the shit of Rashi on the Mishnah. The other Shem will have to explain this differently. So you return the animal itself, but you also have to pay what the animal's worth at the time. So that you pay the extra money, but you get to keep, because shinui is kind of, you get to keep whatever it is that you have today, because that's different than what it was originally. Now, Shimon comes along and says, we see it ki'ili hishuma etzle bekesed. We see it as if that you assess what Rav Shimon says. The Gemara will explain. You put a dollar value on it, and you pay whatever's worth at the time. Like give it to a third party and all that. What Rav Shimon is trying to say, is he different than Rabbi Yehuda? We'll see in the Gemara. Okay, but let's first understand Rameir. Who might time Rameir? What's this for Rameir? He says everything goes back to the nigzel. Is it Is it because he doesn't believe in the whole concept of shinui, and therefore everything has to be returned? Generally speaking, of course, everyone holds shinui is kind. The hach over here and it's merely a knas. Why in the world should a gazan have any benefit from his act? We have a rule, that a sinner should be benefit. Why should that happen? So that's why it's a knas. And remember, the mayor is the one who makes gzeidas and knasim. So therefore, we say give it all back. At the end of the day, what's the difference if it's a knas or because she is not kind? The outcome is the same. No, there is a difference. What happens? What happens if the animal actually is devalued? If the vort is that the animal belongs to the nigzel because there's no shinui, then who cares what the status of the animal is? This is your animal. If for the better or for the worse. But if the vart is that it's a knas, again the chayta now gains because he stole an animal worth $100. Now it's 70. You pay. Or the market price. It doesn't make a difference. No difference. But actually, they're talking about as well. The animal devalued came lean. Tashma coming in. Gozal, behema, v'hiskina, you stole an animal that got older. So that means the animal itself now is worth less. Avodim, slaves, v'hiskina, they became older. Again, they're worth less. They have less energy. Is mishal and kishas gzela. The din is, so there's like a shini over here, or and you have to pay not what the value is today. You pay whatever it was at the time you stole it. The mayor argues why? Because shini is kind of. So therefore you can't give it back and say, hey, take back your old cow here, or take back your old Evid. But the mayor says, ba'avodim, I only argue in the case of slaves. By a slave, you can say, which means when it comes to the animal, you can say, take it back. I shini is kind. So so I'm sorry. If shini is not koina, then a mayor should also say that by the animal as well. Take it back. The animal now is worth a lot less than before. It's an old animal. So what? Shini is not koina. Your animal became older. What's the difference? Is that the fact that a mayor agrees when it comes to an animal means that mayor holds shini is koina, and therefore I can no longer give you back the animal because it's not the same animal that you that you stole. Why by avodim does he argue for this reason altogether? Because we have a machlekes, we had enough debate, we'll have in many places, we had, and getting, if an Evid has the same status as karka or not. And karka ain't an exelis. If you learn that the status of an Evid is like karka, like I say, it can be stolen. Wherever it is, it belongs to the nigzal. But when it comes to the animal, a mayor agrees. So we see clearly, mayor holds shini is koina, which means regarding our question we had before, does a mayor hold that shini is not koina or is it knas? No, definitely shini is koina. So why is a mayor say you have to give back the baby calf and the shearings? Because of a knas, nothing to do with the shini.
Is there like lost service that he could have had from the Evan and the animal in the time?
No. Ilum behema. We say that Meniyas Harevach is not called a hefsid. Be'ilum behema kishas hagzela. It seems something here only by the Ebedi argument. But behema, he said, pay the real price. Now, that if you hold that Savar Amer, if you hold that Amer holds, if you hold when Tzadik in the middle of the page, so we're questioning what's the Amer's Svar, why he says that the Gazan has to return the baby calf, has to turn all the sharings. Is it because he doesn't believe that there's a change makes it yours, or is it because he feels he penalize you? So even that if Rab Meir holds Shini Mekayim, that Shini is not affected, then I feel Behemanami. Then even the behemoth as it aged, so what? And it's worth less than before, and the animal changed, so what? Give it back. Elashmamna must be Kasara Meshina Koina, Menhoshin is Koina. The Hachaknaza and merely it's a penalty that we levy on the Ganif. Why should he benefit? Amri Mar said no proof from here. I can learn the Braisa differently, and as follows: Rameir is responding to Rabban. He says, I personally I hold that Shina is not affected. So the animal you give back, the Evid you give back, I thought I hold. But it's clear that you guys hold Shina is kind of. But at least be made to concede to me when it comes to an Evid that you should be able to give it back, even though Shina is kind of. Why? Because an Evid has the same status as property, as land, and land cannot be stolen. I feel the behemoth. I hold the behemoth, you can return also, because Shina is not kind of. Elo did you. Amrita, you hold Shina is kind of. Ideally, me at least concede to me, but after when it comes to a slave, they can make kind. I mean, halachically, legally has the same status as your property. The karka and exelis, and property cannot be stolen. The Rabban respond, no. So that's what they're arguing on. Not about Shini, but Ever Karka Metalton. And because they hold Ever Metalton and Shini is Kaina, you cannot give it back. Okay, so we have no proof either way. Toshma, come in, I bring another proof. What happens? I hired you, so I gave you pure wool, and I asked you to go ahead and I want you to dye red. But instead, what you did was black. You didn't take it seriously, and you thought that black is nicer. You didn't even ask me. In a way, you're not a Ghana for anything else. You're just a shake it because you thought that you're actually helping me out. But I wanted dafka red to match whatever, and you made it black. Or shachar, or I asked you black, you made it red. Rameya says, Rameya says that now this person has to reimburse. He ruined it's like he stole the wool. But what does he pay? He pays the money of the wool, because the wool, whatever wool was worth before you put the dye on it. The wool on its own might be $100. Dyed wool is worth a lot more because you can do so many things with it. Let's say another $50, $150, but I don't pay you the $150. I pay you $100 worth. And even though with the dye right now, it's worth more than that. because some people want red, or some people people out there want black, some people want the red. But the fact is, I pay whatever the wool it initially was before you put the dye in it. The meitzimra in, you only pay the value of the wool, but the meitzimra v'shvachiloi, but you don't pay the value of the wool and the improvement as well. If you can tell me, if Shini ain't a koine, then who benefited from the fact that the wool now is worth more money? The nigzel. So if I'm going to pay you money, let's say the wool is no longer around, I'm going to pay you money. I should be paying you not the $100 for the wool. I should be paying 150 because any improvement that happened to the wool, it was the benefits the victim. If Shini is not koine, so you have to say that as soon as I dyed it, it's no longer the original wool, so I made a shini in it, and the shini is kaina. So the ganav therefore owns the improvement of this wool. The only thing that the ganav or this person has to pay for is the wool itself. So that the main whole shini is kaina. And how come the ganav cannot keep the shearings and the baby cat? Because I can't. It doesn't matter. It's like a gun because I ruined your property. I ruined your wool. The made similar I have to pay you back. If you tell me that Shini is not koine, he should be paying the guy back for the wool and the improved wool. It's now whatever improvement you made to the wool, whose wool was it? The nignus. And who benefited from the improvement? The nignus. So if I'm paying money, I should be paying for the new status of this wool, whatever it is.
You're saying that you would deduct the muscle.
Did like what?
The gun stole $100 worth of wool and he died it, now it's worth 150. The guy wants back his wool, so instead of giving back 100, I improved to $50. I don't have to give you 50.
That's what we're saying. If Shini is koine, then the gunner just gives him his wool, money, $100 worth of cash.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying.
But if your Shini is not koine, I'm not giving you the wool. The wool is mine. It stays with the gunner because you made a Shini. The moment you made a Shini is no longer the original, it's no longer the owner, it's something else. If your whole Shini is not koine, then you have to give him back the wool itself. The wool is worth more money. And if let's say it belongs to Nigam. And if let's say the wool I cannot return, I got to pay instead. I got to pay the value now of a red wool.
According to the shit which the Shini is koine, so he has to pay back the $100 worth that he stole.
Or what else?
I'm saying.
What do you mean? If Shini is koine means that I stole from you a piece of wool, that's all I stole from you, $100 piece of wool. And just because there's an improvement on it, it's my improvement. If she's not koine. Now there is an issue we'll have about Metziim, or if I walk into your property without your permission and I benefit it and I plant things over there, I plant things in there, can I come over to you and say, pay me back because I improve the value of your property? Then we say, you have to pay me back the Yitzia or the Shevach, whichever is less. Either the expenditure that I put in or the benefit, whichever is less, because the other al. So there's an issue over here. Maybe if I go and I improve your wool, if I improved it, then you have to pay me maybe for the dye that I put in, not for the time and effort and everything else, whatever, or whichever is that. On the other hand, you can say you ruined it. I want to duck a black and you made a red. Must be inconclusive proof. That's one version. Another version is that never a question. Never a question whether I may hold Shini Koine or not. Definitely may hold Shini Koine. How do I know? That very Braisa we brought before, we had an argument Mayor regarding the Eved, if you can return the Eved when it aged. In fact, Rav turned the name around. The first view was Rav Meir, and the second one was a Chamim. And the first opinion was that even the aged cow, you cannot return, which means Meir clearly holds Shini is Koine. Why can't you return the aged cow? Because Shini is Koine. They're only arguing about Eved, that's about Karka, but when it comes to the cow, it's purely because Shini is Kaina. So definitely a main whole Shini is Kaina. So it's no question. So that wasn't a question. Especially according to Rab. Gazal part, he says, learn the Braisa, Gazal part of his giving an age of his kingdom, that he paid the original price, but a maid is the one who said that. The slaves, they argue when it comes to slaves, is bad. No question. Made holds that Shini is Kaina. That's why the aged cow, you cannot return it to the owner because it's no longer the same cow. So what's our question here? And no question as well. So how do you understand that Meir when he says over here the Ganef cannot keep the baby calf that was born by him in his possession? He has to return it to the victim because he holds it's a knas. It's a penalty. He call you boil. And our question is as follows: do you penalize only when it was a deliberate, or even if it was inadvertent? How far does a mayor go with this class? That's right. And sometimes we say, like the Shabbos, we say, we're going to shegig or to mazes. What do we do about monetary things? Hochi by them. Okay, kokani b'mazes. The only concept by mazes of the shegig lekanis. B'Sheigig not Konis, Idim of Jonami Konis, or B'Sheigig also you can't see. And we'll see that this case of changing the color red to black is more like a Sheigig. I think it's better for you. I didn't bother consulting you, not because I want to steal from you or anything. I have no intention of stealing it. I'm doing it for you. But I thought I'm a bigger maven, and I know what's better for you, which happens all the time. You go to these tradesmen and they make changes because they think they know better than you. So that it doesn't make them a ganet. It makes them it's more like a shogeg. We'll come back. We'll come back to you. It creates it's the seeds of a fight. Yes. Tosh, coming here. Okay, let's try to resolve this one. There are 5 different cases that you cannot collect. Normally, if you have a loan, if you don't have money to pay me back, I can go to the properties you sold. There's a lien on the properties in the Chasim Shabadim, and I can collect from them. But there are 5 examples where I can only go to Bnei Chayrin. I can only go to the person who owes me the debt, and I have no right to go to any of the properties they unsold. There's no lien on any of those properties, no encumbrances, nothing. And what are they? The Elohim. And the following. Paydos, the dividends, we'll soon see what the paydos are. Shevach paydos, the improvement of the paydos, we'll soon see what that is. Hamekabel olav lozen ben ishtoy bas ishtoy. Somebody marries a woman who already has a son, or somebody marries a woman who already has a daughter, and he promised her that he is going to provide for them. And then and the children then come to collect. They can only collect from his estate, not from any of the properties that he unsold, because it's not fair that the kuchas, had there's no fixed amount. They have no way. We hadn't gotten as well for pay. They don't know how it's a tikkun oiler because it's endless. Usually, if it's a loan, fixed $100. So the kuch can find out, and then they can say, okay, $100. I can see the labor has $500, so no problem. He can pay it. But when it comes to muzzin and these things, there's no limit. Okay, that's one of the reasons. The get and the get choiv she'ein bo achrayis. What about if there's a document where there's not written in there that I am going to take responsibility if the property is sold? For example, the guy made a loan, but on the start it doesn't say that if I don't have the means to the proceeds to pay you, if I don't have the means, you can go to the properties I've sold that I've unsold. It doesn't say that. It's not documented, those words. There's no achrayis nechasim there. So I get to achrayis. But he didn't put a lien on his properties. The woman, he didn't put a lien on his properties for the woman. Now, generally we have a rule, achrayis toy safer. We said there's no way that anybody who bothers to make a document wouldn't document. Was it the same thing? He told us they didn't put a lien. He owes his wife whatever the $200. He didn't say in the ksuba, I'm putting a lien on my whole estate to cover this $200. So now we had a Gemara, but you'll have many places like right here. The thing called achrayis toy safer, which means the Chacham hold that there's no way in the world that a person is going to go and document a loan and not want that the borrower's properties should be secured. What's the security? A piece of paper is worthless. The security is the lien on the properties. So even though you didn't include that into the document, it's obvious. It's obvious. So I doesn't say the document. So you say through. The Sefer forgot to write it in. That's a chacham. Rameir holds achrayis lav toy sefer. Achrayis is missing the document, and that was deliberate. There is no lien on the property. And here this Braisa clearly says, and here we say clearly that what? What do you call it? Here we clearly say that there's no, if there's no achrayis recorded in the document, you cannot collect from any of the properties. That means it's important to put in that clause. The only one who holds that is the mayor. So therefore, clearly, this is a mayor. So now let's go back to Paydos and see what Paydos is. Man, who's going to hold achrayis is not a toy safer. That mayor, it's a mayor. Tony, and it says Paydos, the Shevach Paydos. Let's understand. Shevach Paydos hechidami. What's the Shevach of Paydos? What do you mean by the improvement of Paydos? What's the case there? You're going Shigazel. Sorry, no, but Shevach Paydos. There's 2 cases. Paydos or whatever the fruits, but the Shevach Paydos says you cannot collect the Shevach Paydos from Lekuchas. What's the case of Shevach Paydos? The guy improved, the Lekuach improved, and he has the Paydos there. I cannot collect from them. What's the case there? Shevach Paydos follows. You're going Shigazel Sada Mechaveda. Shimon stole a field from Reuven. And Levi bought it, knowing that the field was stolen. And Levi improved the field. He planted it and plowed it. And then eventually Reuven goes and collects from Levi He takes his field back. So now Levi turns to Shimon and says, "Hey, Kishu gave." So now when he goes, so what happens? Levi now goes to Shimon. Hey, you sold me a stolen field. Reimburse me. Reimburse me because you sold me a field that was stolen, and the Reuben just took it back. He seized my property. So you have to give me a guarantee. You gave me, you got to reimburse me for my sale. So now, and when Shimon sold the field to Ganav, sold it to Levi, he said, I'm guaranteeing you everything is all right. Okay. Now, this person was under the supposition that even though it's a stolen property, there was Yush, and now the Shin of the Shus, everything is good. So Levi bought it knowingly, but he thought that out of the Seder. The din is, Goives Akedem and Chosim Mishabadim, that what happens, let's say the Shimon has no money to reimburse Levi with. Levi has the right to go to any field that Shimon sold because he was a buyer before those other buyers, right? Remember, Levi bought it from Shimon. If he bought it prior to anybody else, Shimon gave him a guarantee, an ironclad guarantee, so then Levi has the right to collect from that. But what can he collect? Only the principal. There's a shevach, but any improvements that he made on the property is menachashim nechayim. You can only directly collect from Shimon. He cannot go to any of the buyers there. So what do we see from here? That so this is like it's like in a way it's like a milvishtar, and he could only collect the property and not the pace, his improvements. Now, my lab, what are we talking about? We're talking about here a shegi. You're talking about a shegi here. Why can't he collect the shevach ozer from the buyers? Why can't he collect the shevach buyer? Because we say that the land, the improvement of the land belongs to the nigel. Any improvements that happen here is not Levi's. It's Reuben's. It belongs to the nigel. Now, the chayda, why does it belong to the nigel? Because we can't. Remember, Shin is kindness to Shin. Why doesn't Levi get the benefit of the paytas that he can go now and go to these little kuchas and buy for them? Because Meir holds we can't send the ganef, which is Shimon. Now Levi is a continuation of the Geneva. We can't send what that you don't get the benefit of any of the improvements, the Shabbat paytas. So Levi can collect from Shimon, but he cannot go to any of the kuchas. Of course, the Shabbat, because that's between him and Shimon. But between the Lekuchas, he cannot because the Shabbat belongs to Reuben. Now the question is, here's a shegig. Why is he a shegig? Because he thought halachically he did the right thing. He thought it was Yerush already, and therefore he's allowed to buy, even though Shimon was a ganef, but it was Yerush. And now the Shin of the Shus, we learned before, Yerush was a mutter. He thought he did the right thing, so it's a shegig, and yet we're penalizing it. My labamar, the Layadi didn't know the Nixela saying that he didn't know this concept that karka is different because karka cannot be stoned. If you look, because about karka comes along Ruvain. And what did Reuben seize? Not only the land, he took the land together with the improvements. Why? Because the improvements belong to Reuben. Forget about it. So we should clear that Reuben is entitled to take the improvement because they're all his. Why we penalize the Ghana? Isn't that a proof? And we said, no, maybe we're talking about Levi knew that he did the wrong thing. He was hoping to get away with it. Levi knew that Shim was a Ghana and he knew Karkain Nixelis. So it's amazing. And that's why we can't send over here because they're all Mazidim. And therefore, Reuven, the Nigniv, has the right to go to Levi and take back not only the property, but also the improvements, because it's stolen land, and you knew it was stolen land, and you knew that legally you have no right to it. So we can't send you. Why should you have any benefit from something that you did illicitly? We don't know. We have no raya one way or another. No, we're saying, Lloyd, this is now with devil's advocate. We can't bring it raya one way or another, man. You can argue talking about it, you can argue about Tamachachim. So I have no raya one way or another. Toshma, come in here. Back to the case before. I gave you one color and you did another color. And this is a case of shagig. Shagig because you thought you're helping the guy out. Is and way Rashi explains that people don't know that you don't have to listen, that you have to listen to the instructions, which is a bit hard to understand. But Rashi says here, the there are many people, the Layad, who don't know the Asal Lashana B'Diba Shabal Bayis. That it's forbidden to not listen to the Baal. Pretty amazing. But anyway, as Rameh has said.
You ever had someone bring back something they never read the instructions in the first place?
Yeah, but how many times the guy says, give me this, and you give him something else, and he brings it back to you. I asked for this. And you say, what do you mean you asked me for this? But I decided to give it that.
It's more fashionable this season.
Yeah, whatever.
I've got an order from Black. I'm doing it today.
Exactly. So anyway.
I thought you meant black. I thought you meant black.
I read black.
Is that Meir? The Meir says you only have to pay for the wool because there was a shina here. The Meir is like you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay for the. You only pay the value of the wool, but you don't pay for the shvach. The shvach does not belong to the nigel. Why? Because shini is kind of. But the Meir holds that you cancel. Why doesn't he cancel over here? And this is amazing. Why doesn't he cancel over here? Unless because it's shaggy. So it's clear you don't cancel shaggy. These are not shaggy. I'm going to make you paying for everything. Here he doesn't cancel the shaggy. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda says, what was the next thing in the Brisa? Rabbi Yehuda said, Rabbi Yehuda says, no, return the animal the way it is. You return the animal the way it is.
So
And that
so
you don't cancel shaggy. That's right. You don't count it. So Meir Hoshin is kind. It's only a knas, but not a shaggy. Rabbi Yehuda says Rabbi Yehuda says that the animal, was pregnant and then gave birth. So you return the animal the way it is because in the animal there was no shini, which really fits into the shit of Rashi we learned yesterday. The animal there was no shini, and then you have to pay for the improvement that it was at the time when you stole it, not what it was, not as a full-grown calf which you already have in your possession, but was like a pregnant cow is worth $20 more. 2 months in the pregnancy, that's what you paid extra $20. That's a beauty. But Shimon says, "Royin oisiki ilu shuma esru kesi." You assess it in what its value was money at the time when you stole it. So then they might benai. What's the difference? So you might understand that Shimon basically says the same thing. You return the animal and then you give the difference, whatever the shevach was over and above. What animal, that was without a pregnancy, then was 2 month pregnancy. So what's the chiluk? What about here? We're talking about cases where the animal already gave birth. What about the animal still pregnant? But further down the track, further down the pregnancy, so it's worth more. What happens that you stole them as a 2 month pregnancy, now a 7 month pregnancy when you were caught, and you have to return it. So now the animal's worth more. Who gets that 5 month pregnancy, the extra that increased while it was in the possession of the ganef? So that's a machlek. The Yehuda saw about the nigzlach. Sorry? Wait a minute, a pregnant animal 7 months is worth a lot more than a pregnant animal 2 months. It's closer to the full gestation.
Short time you'll have it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to feed it for 5 more months. You only feed it for 2 months. So Rabbi Yehuda said the nigzel. Rabbi Yehuda says Kol's man is the original animal is there. Any improvement that happened belongs to the nigzel. And Rabbi Shimon says the gazenhaber. We only look at the moment that you stole it, and anything beyond that belongs to the ganesh, to the gazen. Says the Gemara, so that's Habzvid. So machlek is simple. Machlek is the shevach in the item itself is the nigzels, which is Rabbi Yehuda, or the gazans, which is Rabbi Shimon. However, the Papa said the kuliyam everyone agrees. Shevach gabik zayla the gazna, but everyone agrees it belongs to the gazlan because it's in his possession. You only pay to the nigzel what it was worth at the time when you stole it. The question is, does the nigzel get part of it back as well? Let's say the normal, if you let's say work for me and you raise an animal, besides wages, I give you a chelik. I give you, if I want you to have a motivation to work much harder, I give you a piece of action, quarter, a third, a half, whatever it is. If that's the minig Medina. So do we say also that they sort of split that way? That even though it belongs to the Gazan, should the nigel also get something? And here, the Papa is exactly the opposite of Rabbi Zvid. Rabbi Zvid learns that Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says, let's give more to the nigel and less to the Gazan, right? Here's the other way around. Rabbi Shimon says, let's give more to the nigel. So Rabbi Yehuda says, Sheva Gabik Zeh Lekula the Gazan, give nothing to the nigel. Any improvement? Still, until it was whatever it is, belongs to the Gazan. And Rab Shimon is one who says, the shakel Gazan. That the Gazan takes whatever the normal arrangement is that a person would have gotten if it's done legally. That's what he gets, half, third, or a quarter. And the rest goes to the nigzel. Exactly the opposite of the way we learned before. Anyway, so tonight we learned. So we're going to ask a question. Gozal, Potter, you stole a Potter. This is case number 3 in the Mishnah. You stole a cow. V'nis abra etzla. So when you stole the cow, it was lean. It was just an ordinary cow, and now it fell pregnant in the possession of the Ganef. The old and gave birth. Rachel, a sheep, v'nitana etzla, and then started to grow wool while it was by the Ganef. The Goza, and then you short. Is Mishalim, what do you pay Kishas Exela? What did you steal? You stole a cow without any wool. You stole a cow that was not pregnant. You got a sheep without any wool, a cow that was not pregnant. And so it seems to me, and you get to keep whatever it was, the baby calf, right? The shini, you know that. It seems to me here only Yolda in, only because he gave birth. What happens lo Yolda? What happens if the cow improved in your possession? It was not pregnant when you stole it, but it became pregnant, fell pregnant when it was by you. So now the cow itself improved in value. What happens then? It seems from the Mishnah, the only time it belongs to you is if it actually was born, so it's a shinnik. But the animal itself improved, it seems from here, he goes to Nigzel. Yolda, how to be, he goes back to Nigzel. It's being according to Rabbi the Amru says, Shevach Shagabe who said before that Rabbi Yehuda holds. Rabbi Yehuda holds that everything, any improvement in the animal goes to the nigzul. So our Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda. Papa said that everyone agrees that if any improvement in the animal belongs to the gazlan, the only question is whether the nigzul, where you may divide a shutfus or something, half a third according to Shimon. So who's also our Mishnah? Our Mishnah is not Rabbi Yehuda, because our Mishnah seems to say that any improvement in the animal goes to the nigzul. No one holds that. Rabbi Yehuda holds entire, and the benefit goes to the Gazan. The late Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Shimon holds that they split it. I'm not a papa. The papa said your whole deek is wrong. Who adin, the same thing would apply. Afilu lo yolda nami. The who adin, the same thing apply that even if you do not give birth nami kishas akzel mishalom. He holds that, or even the Mishnah gives an example. He gave birth, but the truth of the matter is, even if you do not give birth, it still be say that you mishalom kishas akzel. Where the popular what belongs to the God is an improvement, and you only pay your shinui, and you pay only whatever was worth the time. So how can the Mishnah Dafka stresses that it was born, even wasn't born yet? It belongs to the Gals and I need the nasi because the previous case it says Yolda, because they're talking about you stole a pregnant cow. So the only real shini is when it gave birth. So nasi say Yolda. So we use the word Yolda here, but we're continuing the flow. But the truth of the matter is, even if it was not Yolda, all the improvements go to the Gazan, the way that popular. Tani goes up, look like a papa. What does that mean? We assess it. That if we say it belongs to the Gazan, whatever a normal worker would have arrangement would be in that Medina, half a third and a quarter, that's how what's the Gazan receives, the rest goes to the Negro. I have a question of Shimon who just Gazlan. When we say that he gets a half a third and a quarter, the Gazan takes. He's kim masal kinile b'dami masal kinile. You only give him money. The money I give him the skip. Amarabashi, sorry. Kavim Bava Kama. When I was in Shira Kana, he asked us a question. Lit Rabbi Shimon, the Amar the Machzor Shishal Bia who just chuckled. Gaza. The Gazan gets a percentage. How do you pay the Gazan out? Is it b'dami misal kinle? You give him money, the value of a half or a third or a quarter. Is that what you give out, or the animal itself? Uprashatna, we resolved it from the following. There are three examples where we say, look, the improvement goes to this person, but he doesn't get the improvement itself, but rather, and we work out the value of that improvement, but we give them money in its place. And these are they. Let's say that the father passed away, left behind the property, the Bechor gets 2/3 of the property, and the Pasha gets 1/3. But then the property increased in value. They didn't, whatever reason, they didn't go ahead and to make the division until a year later. During that year, the property increased in value substantially. The Bechor is not entitled to anything which is row potential, and not entitled to any shevach. So even though the Bechor now gets 2/3 of the property, but part of that doesn't belong to him. Part of that is equal, so the part of the shavach he has to now divide in half, and part of it has to go back to the pasha. But he doesn't give him a piece of the property. He takes 2/3 of the property. You value whatever that shavach is, and gives him money. So that's one example where even though the shavach he's entitled to, but you don't give him the shavach of the property. You give him just money. Let's say a Baal Chayv goes to the kuchas to collect for his loan. He has no right to take from what do you call it? The lekech will improve the property. For a property that was $100, he planted it, put in better whatever it is crop. So the Baal Chayv now has to reimburse the lekech. The sheva belongs to the lekech. So you don't say, oh, okay, well, a section of the property should go to the lekech, keep the lekech, and he gets a smaller size of the property. It doesn't work that way. He sees his entire property, but the shevach he has to reimburse the lekech money. And the third one is about Chayv liyasayim. Let's say a Baal Chayv goes to Yisayim because the father owes him money, has a contract, and he can collect from Yisayim. He does not take the shevach of the properties as well. After any improvement in the property after the father died, he's not entitled to, but he still takes the entire property, and he reimburses the Yisayim for that improvement on the property monetarily. and gives him money. Okay, so Amalei. Amalei, Rabbi said Rabashi. Let me ask you a question. You're telling me that Shmuel said by Balchayv that he doesn't, that the Balchayv is not entitled. Balchayv takes entire property and he owes the Lekeach money for the Shevach that he invested in the property. Didn't Shmuel say? Didn't Shmuel say Balchayv gave it the Shevach? Didn't Shmuel say that a Balchayv actually collects the improvement as well, and he gives nothing to Lekeach? You're telling me that he has to reimburse Lekeach for the investment that he put in or the improvements. Elsewhere, Shmuel said that that this property belongs. Remember, he has a lien on this property, and any improvements, who benefits? The Balchayv, and he owes nothing to the Lekeach. How does that work? That's not a problem. But this is a side issue. It's not a problem. Here we're talking about. This is how Rashi learns to say a different shot. Here we're talking about b'shevach, where if the crop is ready to be harvested, in other words, it's standing high, like to reach shoulders height, standing ready to be, then it's as if it belongs already to the lekech. It's no longer the lean, as if it's already cut off already because it's about to be harvested. So then you have to reimburse the lekech for that crop. But any improvement of the property, any crop that's growing there, but it's still a way to go before, in other words, it still needs the property, then the Balchayv seizes the entire property, including the Shavach. That's what he says here. And Face doesn't like the Pshat at all, and he gives him Pshat Magilik Safim. He learns Magilik Safim is that even though it's not fully ready yet, but if eventually your plan is to harvest it in a month, 2-3 months, and you're going to carry it on your shoulders, not that the crop reached shoulder height, you're going to carry it on your shoulders to the market to sell it.
In other words, it's ready, it's complete.
No, that's Rashi. Rashi learning something means that the height. In other words, the crop is ready, it's already so tall, you're ready to harvest it. Rashi says no. Something means it still has a while to go. But my plan, the Lekeach plan, is to harvest it eventually and sell it. Then that Shvevach belongs to the Lekeach, and the Balchayv has no right to take it. But if the cut it, he didn't cut it. It's not even ready to be cut. But his plan is. Something means the shoulder of the. That's it. But if that's it's not ready. But but eventually, and that something means something means that it's shevach. It's shevach that you have no intention of going to the market. In a way, yeah.
One day I'm going to harvest it.
A third shot is something means that if the lekech put a lot of effort into it, then you have no right to take it to Balchayv. If you didn't put any effort, like weeds or some growth that grew on its own, then the Balchayv could take it. Okay. But the fact is, more Pascal that you can even take that the Balchayv can take everything, even if it's ready to be harvested, or even you plan to harvest it one day, or even you put a lot of effort in it. The loan equals exactly the property, including the shevach, then the Balchayv can take the entire thing. It doesn't matter if it's about to be cut off, because it covers exactly the loan. If the loan is just the land itself and the shevach improvement is really beyond the loan, so then it depends. If it's Megillah Ksafim, you have no right to take it. If it's not Megillah Ksafim, you can take it, but you have to reimburse the Lekeach for that. Amalei said, "It makes sense if the lekech, there's an opinion. Does the lekech have an option? Can he say to the Balchayv, "What? The guy owes you $1,000. Here, take the $1,000. Leave the property. I want this property." Or does the lekech have no right? The Balchayv says, "Look, I have a lien on this property. The property is mine. I'm seizing the property, even though you want. I'm seizing it." So he said, "How do I massive?" I said, that the lekech never has a right to send away the Balchayv. The Balchayv can always take the property away, even if you want to give money. Fine, so you can take the shevach and everything else. If the lekech has money, but here, take the money and leave my property alone. So let him say to him, even though the property is worth, with the shevach is equal to the loan, let him say to him, "Look, if I had cash right now, I would have sent you away from everything. Now that you're going to reimburse me for the shevach, don't reimburse me. If I had money, I can keep the whole property. I don't. At least let me keep the shevach. Give me a shtickle land. Give me, the shevach part of the land. Instead of giving me money for it, I want a piece of the land. The amount that's my shevach, what you're going to pay me for. Amalei, you're right. You could say that. He made an apaitika, which means more than just a lien on the property. This is your security. And Amalei lo yelech el he added, you're going to get paid to me. So in that case, he can take it and reimburse the lokafer shamach.